Where have I been and what have I been up to? Why haven't I been putting out videos for 6 months? Well, stay tuned because I'm about to spill the tea. Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Joelle, the Everyday Avant-Garde, where I talk about all things art, business, and creative lifestyle. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit subscribe so you can stay up to date on all my latest content. Alrighty, so this video is going to be part one of a 3-part series that I am doing on burnout, how to recover from burnout. In this video, I'm going to talk about my recent experience with burnout, why I've been neglecting my YouTube channel for the past 6 months. The main reason I wanted to share my story and experience with this is because with my content, it's always a direct reflection of whatever's going on in my life, what I'm working on, what I'm dealing with or going through. And I believe in being very authentic, and it brings my content. It's coming from a place of actually like experience and having lived it. So when I'm sharing my story, so that you understand, I'm not just like talking about burnout and recovering it without having actually lived it and tried these methods myself. So what is burnout? For those of you who don't know, burnout is basically when you're just doing too much of a certain thing in your life, whether it's working or taking care of your kids or going to school, or even like exercising. You can get mental burnout, physical burnout, emotional burnout, or a combination of them. And then so it leads you to have kind of symptoms like depression or feeling cranky, low energy, brain fog, bad performance at your job or whatever task you're trying to do, to the point where it just kind of gives you like you're in a state where you just have no desire or motivation to really do anything because you're just like perpetually exhausted and mentally like overworked and frazzled. So back when I first started this channel, it was like around April 2021, and I was on unemployment due to all the shutdowns and stuff that were happening. And at the time I started my channel, while I did have some mental and emotional burnout from the panini, I had a lot more free time to work on things like my YouTube and my business and creative projects, etc. So everything was going fine, like whatever. But then in August, I started a job serving in a very busy restaurant. So right away, I got thrown in from, being kind of more physically like sort of stagnant at home, being on my computer a lot, to walking. My new job, I was walking 10 to 15,000 steps a day. I'm always on my feet. I have to be really high energy and have a positive attitude. And so for me, that drastic change, I started to feel the toll of it immediately, physically and mentally. For me, one of the symptoms that happened right away was because I was on my feet all day. My feet were constantly sore. Sometimes my back was kind of sore. And I would for me, it takes a lot of energy to deal with people. And when I'm doing it for hours at a time, it can be extremely draining. So it got to this sort of point where whenever I would get home, like I had no energy to do anything. I just wanted to like lay on the couch and watch TV, and that was it. I didn't really have like the energy or the desire to clean. I was neglecting things like my relationships with my friends, my social life, even with my husband, who I live with. And even though I like my job, thankfully, it doesn't really cause me stress, but it does take a lot of physical energy from me and mental energy. There's a lot of multitasking that's involved when you're serving, and emotional energy of just, always being very patient with people, and again, being positive, being kind. So whenever I would get home, like it just got to the point where I just always felt like my tank was totally empty. So essentially, I was pouring all of my physical, mental, emotional energy into my job. And because that tank was getting emptied at work, I didn't really have much capacity to deal with anything else in my life. And for me, on top of of course, the exhaustion, being sore and all that, the worst thing about it was I didn't have energy to do what I'm passionate about, to work on my YouTube, work on my business. And I wasn't even doing art projects or crafts just for fun, like just because I didn't even have energy to do that. And for me, when I don't have the energy to do the things I enjoy doing and I love doing, that's a huge sign for me that something is wrong and I need to make some changes. And that was, that was when I realized, okay, like I'm having burnout right now. I am burnt out. And so once I was starting to feel this burnout, which was pretty immediate, it was probably within the first couple weeks of starting this job, I felt really guilty and I felt a lot of shame about the fact that I wasn't being as productive in other areas of my life and getting things done. But, I took a step back, tried to realize what's going on, and I gave myself permission to just be like, if you can't focus on the other areas of your life right now, that's okay. You need to just, I told myself, you need to just kind of reset, figure out a new game plan, and give yourself the time to heal from this. Give yourself the time to adjust and make changes that, you can have balance between the job and work, etc. Because, I could have forced myself to produce stuff even though I was tired. But for me, I want to be creating stuff with a place of having proper energy to do it and doing it from a place of joy rather than feeling like it's an obligation. I just think that makes for way better content. And I didn't want to burn the candle at both ends and add more stress on top of the burnout I was already dealing with. So I said, you know what? It's okay. You're not doing stuff right now. Just take a break and let's figure this out. So this whole healing process and burnout recovery for me, it took 6 months. And yeah, it was longer than I would have liked for it to take. But it's okay. Like I am finally in a place now, 6 months later, where I'm feeling more energetic. I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling happy. I'm not feeling the burnout anymore. And so that's why I thought this would be a great topic to sort of return back to my regular scheduled programming to, share with you in case you're going through the same thing, ways that I actually use to cope and recover and deal with it. So I am here to tell you that if you are feeling guilty for having burnout, it's okay. It's okay to just go easy on yourself and understand that unfortunately it's becoming a sort of normal problem and it happens to a lot of people and there are ways to fix it. I feel like with our culture and society, specifically in American culture, there's a lot of factors that make it very easy for burnout to occur. Like a lot of people here in the US, we don't have paid vacation or maternity leave. A lot of people don't even get paid overtime for their jobs, or, if they're at their jobs, they're getting bothered with emails and calls and texts when they're not even at work, or being called in on their days off with these like shortages that are happening. So there's like all these sort of like hustly things about the culture that we should always be working, that it's not really conducive for our mental, physical, and emotional well-being. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, but it's okay. It's not that there's something wrong with you. Honestly, I believe it's a problem with our society. But that's not to say that you can't sort of figure out some hacks or ways to get around this, messed up situation and deal with it in a way that you're taking care of yourself first, so you can come back from a place of love and joy and happiness and feeling more energetic and strong. And I know another thing on top of the hustle culture in society, the panini has taken a huge toll on people, and people are getting really burnt out just from that, like outside of their work situation. I know for me, the constant like thoughts that I didn't have before this happened, of now I'm always thinking about, do I have my mask on me? Am I washing my hands all the time? Don't touch your face. All these extra thoughts and decisions that are happening in my life now that weren't happening before, like that takes a mental load on you as well. And it's very taxing. And again, a lot of people are dealing with the burnout from that as well. So that's why I wanted to kind of make this first initial video to just talk about it and what's going on, because I feel like it's something that, again, in our culture, a lot of times when people are feeling burnout, they're like, oh, just take a vacation or whatever, but that's not going to solve like the root of the problem. And it's a temporary fix for things. Like, it's easy to just write off burnout as, thinking there's something wrong with a person, or that they don't know how to handle their job or whatever. And like, that's not what it is. It's okay. Like, it's okay to have the burnout. It's normal. And you should not feel guilty about it. So what I would suggest is, rather than feeling guilty about having burnout, just go easy on yourself. And however much time it takes for you to heal and adjust and, get used to like a new normal of whatever your situation is, that's okay. Taking care of your mental, physical, and emotional health is the most important thing. And it is the best thing that you could be doing for yourself in your life, especially if you're dealing with burnout. So you know how like when you're in an airplane and if something starts going wrong or whatever, you're supposed to like put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on the kid. That's basically what I had to do metaphorically to start recovering and coping with this burnout. And so I'm going to break down, the tips that I took in the next 2 videos. I'm going to give you the tips that I took, and then advice and ways that you can implement them in your life, regardless of the amount of time you have or the budget or whatever your situation that's giving you burnout. All right, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you're dealing with burnout and you want to vent or talk about it or just have any comments, feel free to send them down below, because I think it's important to talk about these things. There's a lot of issues that people are going through in life, and they're going through them alone, like not understanding how many of the other people around them are going through the exact same sort of problems, just in their own different ways, So talking about it is always very helpful. Yeah, thank you so much. Take care of you, and I'm gonna get you my tips on the next video. Bye.